Hello, hello. This is Ash, and today we're here with a demo for the game Please Be Happy. Let's hop right into it.
I'll race you!
Fog settled over the forest, far from the villages and towns, and with it came silence. Birch trees shivered, pondering the weather, and dropped their leaves in fright. Streams bubbled, unseen by man, and babbled like the birds in the trees. In the middle of the forest was a grove, and in the middle of that grove was a log. It had been years since it had fallen, once one of the proudest trees around, and now in death it was home to an abundance of life. A line of frantic ants ran to and fro, mushrooms, cloud-like and pillowy, sprouted across one side, like a footpath for fairies. Nearby an old toad flopped contentedly in the mud, and inside the deep, damp hollow of the tree something slept. A traveler strolled into the grove. Their steps were slow and tired, and they spotted the log with relief. Like greeting an old friend, weary from a day's journey, the traveler sat to take a rest. Whoosh! With the scrambling of nails on rotten wood, a shadow bolted from inside the log to the grass nearby. The traveler watched the brush rustle as a faint patch of fur appeared within. "Hello there, friend. I didn't mean to disturb you." They held their hand towards the grass, offering a piece of dried fish. At first there was no reaction, and then, at first a snout appeared, quivering as testing the air, then followed by the rest of the fox, sleek and tawny, as she took several steps forward. Her amber eyes were alight with mistrust, but also with wild curiosity. The stranger sat unfazed, their offering still outstretched. They dared to meet the fox's eyes, and in that glance felt something kindred. As the fox closed her jaw around the gift, a bond was made. "Maybe we aren't so different, you and I." The traveler returned the next day, and the day after that. Each day they brought some treat for their new friend. Each day the fox's steps grew a little more trusting. One day when the traveler arrived, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently.
Hello, my friend. Have you been waiting long?
The fox peered up at the traveler. Her amber eyes were warm and trusting. She accepted her gift of meat, gnawing on it at the traveler's feet, then and there. The traveler sat, imprinting into their mind the feeling of the wood beneath them, the clean air around them, the tender bond of companionship.
Where is your home, little fox? Is it here in this grove? Or do you come to see me too? This will be the last time, I'm afraid. Because I'll be going home tomorrow. Home is such a small place compared to the rest of the world. Yet, it's someplace I can't wait to return to. I wish I could bring you with me, little friend. I wish that you could see the world too. Your home is all around me though, isn't it? It's wherever the trees are, wherever the leaves fall. Little fox, perhaps it's you who's the more fortunate of the two of us.
All too soon it was time for the traveler to go. As they bade goodbye to the forest and to the fox, they knew that they would not return, but that they would carry the memories with them always. The next day, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently. Y'all better not hurt that fucking fox.
We've now docked at Wellington Skyport. Thank you for flying with Kiwi Airlines, and we hope to see you again.
The intercom's announcement is muffled in the closet where I'm hiding, just like the clatter of these seatbelts and where the clattering of passengers getting ready to disembark. I wiggle around impatiently, sore from crouching in here for, I don't even know how long it's been, hours for sure? The last few minutes always feel like they take the longest. A parade of footsteps begins to pass by outside my door. It's time. Listening carefully, waiting for a gap in the crowd. When it comes, I stand up and push the door open in a single movement. I give a wink to the shocked-looking lady that I stepped out in front of. She doesn't even have time to gasp before I'm out of her sight. Humans, they're always kind of slow. I nod at the smiling flight attendant as I pass her by, and then throw up my hood to cover my face. It's been a while since I last flew, but it doesn't seem like things have changed much. It's always been harder to sneak on than it has to sneak off. I follow the crowd to the end of the walkway and step out into the ground. After a long stretch, I take a deep breath and savor the fresh air that begins after being stowed away for so long. Wellington Skyport, New Zealand.
I made it!
I made it. My breathless voice joins the pleasant hum of the Skyport. A few crowds drift lazily overhead, almost within arm's reach. The sound of the waves rolling onto the shore is like a lullaby. It makes me want to burrow into the sand and take a nap. But I can't. First, I need to get out of here. One more challenge ahead. Up ahead, the snaking line of passengers splits as people are funneled into a few security stations. While I'm too far back to hear what the guards are saying, it looks like they're examining little booklets from each traveler before letting them pass. Humans sure like processes and procedures. Thanks for the hydrate, Diamondback. And the posture check. I definitely don't have a booklet like that. Glancing around, I hope to find another way out. Open window would work, even an unguarded exit. I'm pretty sneaky when I need to be. Unfortunately, it looks like the only way to leave is to go through security. Without any other option, I join one of these lines. Prepare myself. I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. The line moves briskly as passengers are cleared one after the other, and I'm almost at the front of the queue before I know it. As the passenger in front of me approaches the booth, I listen closely.
Good afternoon. Passport, please.
Right here. It's good to be home.
I'm sure. Welcome back.
He stamps something in the man's booklet, and then hands it back to him as he continues on out of the Skyport.
Next.
That's me. I don't know what they do to people without any papers, but I don't want to find out. I'm sure it involves lots of questions, being escorted around, and other unpleasant stuff. Casually approaching the gate, I put on my brightest, friendliest smile, keeping a slight distance. With my breathing steady and tail calm, I'm sure I put on a convincing act.
Passport, please.
Of course.
I fumble around in my pockets pretending to look for my passport. Instead, I grab the useless, clunky phone that I've been carrying around and let it clatter to the ground at the guard's feet. As expected, he bends down to retrieve it for me,
Oh, let me get that for you.
and I make a run for it, bolting ahead and rushing past the security booths as quickly as I can.
Hey, you wait.
Stop!
By the time they realize what's happened, I already have a few seconds head start. My inhuman speed combined with the natural chaos of the skyport should also buy me a bit of time. Still, I've got to get them off my tail. Dashing through the skyport doors and out into the road outside, I don't even have time to take in the city. Without stopping for breath, I run into the narrow streets while weaving between cars and shocked bystanders. Being seen by so many people like this is annoying, but it won't matter by tomorrow. Putting the thought out of my mind, I vault over a low wall into a nearby alley and land in a crouch. Out of sight, but only for a moment, I close my eyes, relax my muscles, and all feelings disappear, except a slight warmth against my neck. My secret weapon. The unremarkable necklace is one of my only possessions, and by far my most important. The oddly heavy beads strung around my neck begin to heat up in response to my will, soothing warmth flowing through my body. My hands and feet begin to morph first, the fur chasing up my arm and legs as they distort and shorten. This sensation was so bizarre the first few times I tried. It's amazing how it's become second nature by now. Closing my eyes, I let my body and head shift and turn. The face is always a little uncomfortable, my once human face shifting and lengthening into a snout with some difficulty. The process complete after barely a few seconds, I open my eyes not as a human, but as a fox. I dart away without a second thought, far quicker on 4 legs than I ever could be on 2. Obstacles like the stack of garbage cans would be a pain to get past as a human, but instead I'm able to fit between the gap without slowing down.
That's her. I know it.
That's her, the human turned into the fox. Sounds like the security guard hasn't given up on me yet. I pick up the pace, running as fast as my paws will take me. His heavy breathing gets farther and farther away, and in just a minute or two, I know I'm safe. I don't know where I am, but it's not like I knew where I was when I started running. Almost feel bad for the guy who was chasing me. Never stood a chance. Even in the crowded city streets, there's no way anyone or anything could outrun me. The wind just wishes it could keep up with me. Comfortable that the danger passed, I slip into another alley. Once I'm sure I'm alone, I close my eyes, concentrate on the form I want to take once more. That familiar flowing warmth runs through me, my body stretching and deforming at my command. A few seconds later, and I open my eyes, glancing at my human hands.
Better luck next time.
Better luck next time. This game has beautiful visuals. I like it. It does. It's a really nice art style. It looks like hand-drawn or hand-painted. Brushing the dust off my jacket and hands, I nonchalantly stroll out of the alleyway, back into the streets. The odd person walks by on this errand or another, not paying attention to me, just the way I like it.
Left, right, past turn, left.
Mapping out my path in my head, I look for a way to the main roads. Oh, why is this not? For some reason it was cut off. When I decided to make the journey to Wellington, it was pretty impulsive. I'd overheard another pair of travelers talking about it and how beautiful a city it is. with a moment now to take in the scenery, I can see they weren't wrong. The streets around here seem like a mix of homes and businesses. Everything is very colorful. Even the brick walls are covered in pictures and paint. In the distance, I can see green hills that are lined with houses, as well as green hills that are completely empty. There are a lot of hills now that I look around. From just a few streets away, the sound of pedestrians and busy intersections float my way. I head in its direction, taking shortcuts through yards and driveways when it's convenient. In one lawn, a big dog growls at me as I walk past, but when I transform and growl right back, it tucks its tail and runs away. After squeezing through one last narrow side street, I finally emerge into what looks like a main road. There's no cars here, but a ton of people on foot. There are brightly colored signs and decorations on most of the buildings. Hello, Furry! Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. How's everybody doing today? Hello, hello. Welcome in. My name is Ash. I'm a variety streamer. Right now we're playing a demo for a game called Please Be Happy. It's a visual novel style. We've done a bunch of different demos so far today. We started with Cult of the Lamb, we played Potion Permit, Spirit of the Mouse, and Kaichu, a kaiju dating simulator. We're just testing out some new games from the Wholesome Direct. Yeah, welcome in, make yourself at home. Thank you again for the raid, I appreciate it. Hope your stream was good. Let's see. In the middle of the street, there are fountains and benches and trees and all kinds of stuff. The best part is the variety of the stores. When I stroll past a few of the windows and peek in, I can already tell that I'll be able to do most of my shopping around here. I don't know why shopping is in quotes like that. There are stores with food, clothes, just about everything else. I don't have any money on me, but that isn't exactly a problem. I take out the pups and do post-stream stuff. I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Okay, no problem. Go do post-stream stuff. Thank you again for the raid. What is a problem is that it's too crowded. Dodging a couple security guards is one thing, but trying to escape down a busy street with lots of people could be too much even for me. I just have to remember where this place is and make another visit later after all the shops are closed. Then a man in a bright coat hurries past me, talking loudly on his phone in a language I don't recognize. He's so distracted he doesn't even notice when his wallet falls out of his pocket and onto the sidewalk. I notice, of course. Seeing an opportunity, I zip over and snatch it up, prying open the black leather pockets I find.
Score.
A couple bills in what I figure is the local currency. I slide the money out and into a pocket on my jacket. By now the man is far ahead that he's almost out of sight. I have to hurry to catch him to give him his wallet back. He barely even says thank you.
I should have just kept the whole thing.
It's only fair that I get a little something for myself, since it's not like he would have even gotten it back without me. I head back to my bench and inspect my prize. A blue bill and a brown one. These feel sturdy, nothing like the paper I expect.
1, 0, 10, and 5. So 15.
Dang, that guy is mean. I'd be so thankful if someone found my wallet. Right? You know how hard it would be? I wouldn't even care if they take the cash. Like, it's just such a pain in the ass having to redo all your credit cards and driver's license and everything. Oh, yeah, that would be a huge pain. $15 isn't much. I definitely should have kept the whole wallet. Oh well, at least this should be enough to buy myself something to drink. My thirst is starting to get the better of me, as I hadn't had anything since I snuck onto the airship. Oh, totally. They can have the cash as a finder's fee. Right, exactly. It's worth my time just to get the driver's license back. Following my nose, I walk down the busy street until I find one of the many cafes lining the path. The sign hanging above its front door has pictures of a bell on it. A charming little chime rings out from above the door as I enter. I can't help but savor the wave of refreshing, cool air washing over me, which is all the better after so much running.
Hiya! Welcome to the Bell House.
The barista behind the counter is the only other person in the store right now. As I nod in greeting, she leans forward with a cup in one hand and a pen in her other.
What can I get you? We're having a special on affogatos if you want to try one.
Affogatas. I don't know what that is. I assume it's like a coffee thing?
Usually, they're like $7, but today, they're only $5. I'm like a...
I'm not sure what an affogata is. Isn't that a vegetable? Not wanting to commit to the strange-sounding drink, I look at the menu instead. Unfortunately, it's full of handwritten, spindly letters. I can't read a single word, and there's no helpful pictures. Safe option it is.
I'll just
Coffee
have
and
a
ice
vanilla
cream.
latte.
Ooh, that sounds good. Just have a vanilla latte.
Boring. But okay.
Boring, but okay.
Mio.
Miho. My first time testing out how that name sounds, and I decide I like it. I decided on the airship that that was the name I would use here in Wellington. I've used so many names throughout my life, and I can't remember most of them. For each new city I visit, I come up with something new. Foxes don't exactly have any use for names, so nobody ever gave me one. She scribbles something on the cup with a black marker. If that's how this name looks, I'm even more pleased with it.
$4.50, please.
I hand her the brown bill and she gives me back a big coin with a picture of a boat on it.
All right. I'll have this ready for you in no time.
She sure seems enthusiastic. I nod as she spins around and starts working. Looking about somewhere to sit. For somewhere to sit? I decide on a seat by the window with the sun pouring in. Near the entrance of the cafe, there's a wire rack with a stack of maps and tourist pamphlets, so I grab one of the maps before taking my seat. This cafe is big and bright, with plants everywhere. They're on the walls, the floors, and the ceiling. Most of them are real and vibrant, obviously being well cared for. Even the lights hanging down from the ceiling have glass ornaments with little shrubs in them. Seems like I made a good choice coming here. Any place with a bit of nature in it is more comfortable to me than places without.
I guess I should find a place to stay.
Looking down at the map, I trace the path I made from the port to this cafe. It's useful, but it definitely doesn't really tell me anything helpful about the houses in particular. I'll need to find a higher vantage point. Move my finger along the hills I noticed from outside, following the little brown path to a patch of green with a little mountain icon. That should work for now.
Miho!
My ears perk up right as the barista arrives and places my drink in front of me.
Thanks!
Reach over and take the warm cup in my hand, but the barista doesn't let go.
You ready for the rain tomorrow? Huh? It's gonna rain tomorrow.
I glance behind me out the window. It's as sunny and blue day as I've ever seen.
How do you know that? There aren't any clouds out there. I'm just good with the weather. Anyway, if you forget, then you'll be sorry.
She finally lets go of my drink and heads back behind the counter. People are weird. Does the barista pull that on everyone? Standing on the doorsteps, I have my first sip.
Oh, this is really good.
It's pretty plain, but well made. The coffee isn't too bitter, which is perfect for me. With a moment to myself, my thoughts turn inward as I sip the warm drink. My first travels were in search of someone, but despite my whole life spent trying, I haven't made any progress in finding them. So I've taken to simply wandering, going wherever I wish at the time. I'd been itching for a change of scenery anyway, so I boarded, well, snuck onto, the first airship that I could. The best part about owning nothing but the clothes on my back is that I can pick up and leave whenever I feel like it. I take a moment to get my bearings and look around. I see a tired-looking person shuffling along the far footpath with a briefcase in their hand. They stop outside one of the buildings, take a deep breath, pat their face a couple times, then go inside. Sounds like me going into work. They must not be looking forward to whatever's going to happen in there. Maybe they have to fight someone. Basically. Through the large glass windows of another store, a fawn is trying on a pair of shoes, but they don't seem to fit her hooves. The people waiting with her look annoyed. I wonder if she fusses around with her footwear a lot. Same TBH, right? Nobody enjoys going into work. For a while, I simply let the day roll by and watch the various figures who stroll by. People watching is fun, especially in such a busy city. Eventually, I sip my coffee, only to find nothing coming out. With no more reason to stick around, it's time to go. On the sunlit street, I look about to match what I can see with the map's directions. There's a tall green mountain in the distance ahead of me, which must be the one on the map. It'll be a perfect vantage point for the city. Ideally, I'll find an empty building I can crash in, but it's not necessary. A roof over my head would be nice, but I'm plenty used to sleeping outside under the stars. Sometimes it's better than sleeping in a bed. Encouraged by the plan forming in my head, I set off on the long walk to the summit. The path to the mountain turns out to be less simple than the map made it look. The first trail takes me along the waterfront, and then it turns upward through a small forested area. Being among the trees and their tall shadows make me feel at home. When the path leaves the wood again, I'm a little disappointed. It leads up a paved road, so I stick to the edge to avoid passing cars. Sometimes I take shortcuts through yards or unmarked paths. There are quite a few nice-looking homes right along the roadside. I make a mental note to go check them out when I'm low on money or food. Not much farther along, a concrete lookout offers another glimpse of the city below. A couple airships are coming into the dock at the skyport, probably from one of the other floating islands. There's still a ways to go, but at the top of the mountain, there's still a way to go to the top of the mountain, but luckily the walk has been easy so far. I wouldn't even consider it a hike. Eventually I reach the final stretch of road. I can see where it curves ahead of the summit, and I hurry to the end. Metal railing spreads out like a crown on top of the mountain. As I go to toss my empty cup away, a pair of chatting tourists pass me by.
How far is it from here?
Oh, about an hour from the base of Mount Victoria, so a bit further from here.
Mount Victoria.
I'm glad to know what this place is called. I say the name out loud to help commit it to memory. Standing at the edge, I'm treated to a wonderful view of Wellington. The city forms a crescent moon shape around the bay, which glitters like sapphire from up here. The sun is starting to set, and that makes the water even more shimmery. Even more airships can be seen coming and going. I think that I can even see the edge of a floating island we're on, miles out in the open sky. I survey the city using the skyport as a reference point. From up here, what felt like such a long chase really doesn't look far at all. If I strain my eyes, I think I can see the coffee shop from earlier. What was the barista said it was called? The Bell House? It's kind of tough to make out the details, but my hearing and sense of smell may be great, but my eyes aren't exactly much better than a human's. Then I noticed something useful.
Look! Is that our house?
Probably. What can you see from here?
I see Dad's car!
Not too far away, there's a little kid who's using a pair of metal tubes attached to a post. His mom is helping him aim it at the city. Must be something that improves your vision. The moment the kid and his mom leave, I hurry over before someone else can get to them first. When I press my eyes on the spot that the child did, all I can see is black. Try moving it around, but it doesn't change. Is this thing busted? Some text is printed on the side. I have no idea what it says. There's a small slot, though, with a picture of a coin next to it. Luckily for me, it's the coin that has a 50 on it. I put the coin that I received from the barista into the slot and spin a lever. The machine eats my coin, and when I put my eyes to it again...
Yes!
Everything looks much closer now. Even the trees on the other side of the hill appear in crystal clear detail, like I'm standing right next to them. I aim the viewing glasses at the city and look around, trying to find a good place to rest for the night. Houses are a no-go. Even if they look empty or abandoned, you can never let your guard down for a minute. Same with most shops. I don't have enough money for a hotel, and I won't risk sneaking into one of those either. As I'm studying the sights, trying to memorize as much as I can, there's a clicking sound, and once again the view goes black. Stupid machine. Smack it a couple times and check it again, but I can't see anything.
Well, whatever.
While the image is fresh in my mind, I sit down at a nearby bench and pull out a pencil and some crumpled papers from my pocket. I always carry a few with me. I sort through them until I find one that's still blank. Using my knee as a table, I sketch out the view before me. The trees, the curve of the bay, the buildings far below. You never know what information will be useful later. I add more detail to my drawings of the bigger, more important buildings. Others are just represented with a simple rough square. The view is pretty, that's for sure. It didn't really help much though. Once I'm confident I've jotted down everything I need to, I carefully fold the paper and put it back in my pocket.
It looks like I'm sleeping outside tonight. Guess this place is as good as any.
I head back down the trail a bit and veer off it into the underbrush.
Not perfect, but it'll do.
It's not exactly the wilderness, but just about everything around here seems cityfied to some extent. Usually when I make a den, I prefer to find a place far from other people, a place where nobody will find me. I doubt I'll find anything perfect, but this is good enough.
It's fine. Can't afford to be picky.
Once the trail I was on is out of sight, I transform again. My neck gets warm as my beads activate, and a few seconds later I'm on all fours. As a fox, the sensations of nature are much stronger. The earth beneath my paws is cool, refreshing, and the breeze whips through my fur like a massage. I'll hurry down the cliff covered in grass so tall that it reaches way over my head. I can smell fresh water and follow the scent to a small stream where I'm able to parch my thirst. It's just as satisfying as the drink I got at that cafe, but in a different way. And being able to slurp up water is way more enjoyable than having to use straws, or worse, one of those lids with the tiny holes. For a little while, I follow my nose to some berries and some edible plants that'll do for a snack. Unfortunately, unlike the water, foraging is never as satisfying as eating human food. If I want a real meal tonight, then I should pick up the pace before it gets too late. Still, I wanted to get this done now while there's still daylight. I keep close to the stream and search for a place where the ground is soft. Before too long, I find a promising area, a small valley with hills on most sides and thick foliage on the others. I'm still close enough to civilization that I can hear cars and other city noises, but the area I'm in doesn't seem like it gets visited very often. At the very least, it doesn't really smell like people. The spot I settle on is a nice mound of earth near the edge of the woods, partially hidden by a tall tree with low-hanging leaves. Even if no one comes by to make me feel better, knowing that I'll be out of sight. It makes me feel better knowing that I'll be out of sight. And so I start to dig. My claws rip away at the dirt as I burrow downward, widening the tunnel just enough for my sleek frame to fit. First I dig forward and then downward, widening out an area that's big enough for my whole body to fit. This is something I've been doing my whole life, even back when I was just a regular fox. I think that's why I don't mind it too much compared to sleeping inside somewhere. It just feels right to me. It takes a little while, and by the time I'm finally finished, the first few stars have started to peek out from the sky. I shake myself clean of the dirt that sticks to my coat and then transform back into my human form.
Spread this here, couple of branches here, some leaves there.
I walk around the valley a bit, checking it from different angles.
Not bad for just an afternoon's work.
If you weren't looking for it, I don't think you'd ever notice anything out of place. All that digging has made me work up an appetite, and not the kind that'll be satisfied with just a few berries.
Ugh, I'm so hungry. I haven't had a real meal since yesterday.
My stomach rumbles painfully. I've just been so busy since arriving here in Wellington that I kind of forgot just how hungry I was. I'll grab some human food back in town. Casting one last glance at my afternoon's work, I set off towards the city.
Work never ends. Time to get some food!
I'm a bit disappointed when I finally get back to the busy street from before. I was hoping it would be emptier now that all the stores would be closed. Turns out I was half right. A lot of the shops have gone dark for the evening, but there's still just as many people walking around now as there were earlier. In fact, there might even be more. The patio of a restaurant has a bunch of tables full. A mermaid is sitting in the fountain I sat by earlier, chatting with a cyclops. Even the cafe that I visited is crowded now, with a line almost out the door. After pacing up and down by the road for a while, I sit down and try to figure out what to do next. I'm not too worried about what would happen if I got caught stealing, but I'd just escape, obviously. And even if they had somehow managed to catch me, it wouldn't be an issue for very long. See, there's something different about me that makes me extra good at being a thief. It's not just the skills I practice over the year, like picking locks and sneaking around. No, it's a bit more special than that. Without fail, every single person I meet forgets about me by the next day. I don't know why, but I don't really care either. It's magic, that's all I know about it. Really useful magic. Everywhere I go, no matter how careless I am, all of my problems are solved by the next day. That doesn't mean there's no danger. I've been caught in the act before and beaten or harassed before I can manage to get away. I've even lost a few prizes that I stole fair and square because I had to get going in a hurry. But if someone sees me but isn't able to stop me, I know that I'll be home free. Sure, they might remember having something stolen, but they'll never know who did it. It almost makes things too easy. Right now, it would be smarter to just come back even later, in the dead of night, and hope there are no people around. I'd be able to take my time browsing without having to worry about making a quick escape. Where's the fun in that, though? Walk casually up and down the street, glancing into windows without being too obvious about it. Some stores still have customers inside, others have locked their doors and shut off the lights. Most of the restaurants are still open and only making me hungrier. Top 3 types of onion. Ooh. Okay, alright. Top 3 types of onion. I would say number 1 has to be green onions. I put green onion on so many things. Then I would say Vidalia, and then red onions. I love red onions on like a salad or a sandwich or something. And then Vidalia is like my go-to whenever I cook something. Stealing from restaurants is a bit much, even for me though. I've tried it before, but the cluttered kitchens, as well as the tables and chairs, make it hard to get around. Plus, I've learned the hard way that there are plenty of hot or sharp things for angry cooks to throw at you as you try to make your way out. Agreed. Red onion and green onion on everything. Yeah. Same. Instead, my packaged and pre-made food are my best friends. Things that can grab multiples of at once and stuff into my pockets. If I'm really lucky, I'll find a place with refrigerated sandwiches or salads, or sometimes perfectly good hot foods that get thrown out. You wouldn't believe the kind of stuff that's available if you don't mind sniffing through the trash a little bit. Not perfect, of course, but a hot meal's a hot meal. I know plenty of foxes who have eaten much worse.
Target spotted.
A perfect small convenience store, snacks lined up behind the front window. Even better, the stores on either side of it are closed too, so there's not many other people in the area.
Locked, huh? Not surprising.
Head down a nearby alley and find the back door, which is probably where they're bringing in new products. The alleyway is dark to begin with, and my dark clothes help me hide even better. I glance around the alley, glad like always for my excellent night vision. Nobody's watching, nobody's even around. I pull my hood over my ears and tuck my tail between my legs, leaning against a sturdy door. To anyone not looking closely, I'm sure I appear as nothing more than a shadow. I dig around in my pocket until I find my trusty lockpick, and then set to work on the door. It isn't complicated lock at all, just a regular keyhole. With a click, the lock springs open just a few short moments later.
Bingo. Huh?
I just had some grilled red onion on my burger. Oh, that sounds good. I love me some grilled red onion. Or some caramelized onions. That sounds so good. I gotta tug the door towards me, but there's a chain on the inside that keeps it from opening very wide. There's no way a human could fit through the gap, but it would be easy for a fox. First, I slink away for a bit, idling on the nearby street like a regular pedestrian. I wait to see if anyone shows up in case I triggered a silent security system. After about 10 minutes, I decided safe. I transform under the cover of darkness in the alley and slip into the building before transforming back. Love red onion because it has a bite when fresh, but gets really sweet when you cook it. Yeah, same. Yeah, just fresh red onions on a salad or a sandwich are really good, but it's even better when you grill it. The shop isn't very big, and the receiving area is just a small hallway with a few boxes of soda and candy bars on the floor. Grab a couple of my favorites and shove them into my pockets. When I creep into the main area, I make sure to stay low to the ground to avoid being seen from outside. Not exactly hidden, but as long as you don't stand up, I shouldn't attract anyone's attention. Or even pickled. Ooh, yeah, I don't think I've ever had pickled red onions. Maybe I have. I actually bought a jar of pickled regular onions, but I haven't tried them yet. I move fast, cramming as much in my coat as I can. Cookies, protein bar, popcorn. I'm not very picky. That's where I draw the line. I don't like pickled things. Yeah, I know. You're missing out. Sometimes you're missing out. Sometimes pickled stuff is weird. I get it. Just as I'm about to leave, I spot a few of those coveted plastic wrap sandwiches that I was thinking about earlier.
Jackpot!
I fill my bag with sandwiches until it's almost overflowing, and then head back the way I came in. In total, I was in and out in under 5 minutes, and I've got enough supplies to last me several days. When I step into the alley, I glance around in both directions, making sure no one saw me emerge from the store. I don't see anyone, but my neck prickles as if someone's watching me. I sniff the air, but don't notice anything out of the ordinary. Nothing that wasn't there before. Still. Suddenly, there's a flap of wings, and a bat flutters past me out of the shadows, goes right over my head, and disappears from sight up the street.
Oh, that's it?
I let out the breath I've been holding and start making my way back towards the mountains where I made my den. I let the bag swing from my arm as I walk, whistling the song I heard earlier, not able to keep a smile off my face.
All in all, not a bad first day. I've got a nice nest, food to spare, and plenty of places to explore tomorrow.
There have been plenty of days in my life where I had none of those things. I unwrap one of the sandwiches that I grabbed and take a big bite.
Nothing beats the taste of hard work.
I hope Wellington continues to treat me well while I'm here.
So tired. I'm gonna sleep so well tonight.
I unpack everything that I got from the store, as well as the treasures that I always carry with me. I lockpick my wallet, a few pretty stones. The only thing I leave in my jacket is a small scroll.
Can't get that damaged or dirty.
Change back into a fox and then dig another hole near the entrance to my den. This one's much simpler and shallower. I bury some of the snacks that I stole before covering them back up with dirt.
Not like anyone's gonna come by and swipe my things, but better safe than sorry. I stole this myself after all. Don't want it being stolen from me.
That's fair. Don't want anyone stealing from the thief. Stuff like my pen and my favorite rock go into the burrow with me since I like having them close by. Once I've gotten everything where it belongs, I climb into the hole myself, turning a few circles before settling down with my tail wrapped around me. From here I have a perfect view of the stars. I look up at the clear night sky through the mouth of the tunnel. I feel bad for people way down in the underworld.
Can they even see the stars from there?
Probably not. I've never been to the underworld, so I have no idea. I can't imagine falling asleep without them there. Comfortable and safe, I close my eyes and quickly slip off to dreamland. I wake up to trouble, or at least a threat. I'm sure it's only morning as I peer out my burrow's entrance, but the sky is already dark and foreboding. My attention moves from the ominous rain clouds above to the trees outside my den, their branches shaking in the strong
I
breeze.
can't believe that girl from the cafe was right.
I climb up out of the tunnel out into the open, sniffing the air. Tells me just what I already know. A storm is coming, and fast. But also, another scent plays on my nose, one so faint that I almost brush it off before taking in another smell. Surely I'm wrong. There's no way that... Lowering my snout to the ground, I investigate the area, and then decide I'm right. I change into my human form and take a look around.
Someone's been here.
Yes, someone's definitely been here. But this scent isn't a human's. It's vaguely familiar, but at the same time, not like anything I recognize.
And it definitely wasn't here when I went to sleep.
They must have come here in the night and stopped right outside my den.
Are they watching me sleep? Oh, crap.
As a fox, I dive back into my hole to make sure everything's still there. My heart pounds in my chest, but nothing appears to be missing. I also checked the spot where I buried my stash from last night, but that hasn't been disturbed either. I breathe a sigh of relief. If any of my stuff had been stolen, I'd be so mad. But that still doesn't answer the question of what did they want, and that's even more concerning. I'm a pretty light sleeper, and usually the slightest sound or motion will wake me up. If someone was able to sneak up on me, even I have been impressed. Impressed and a little bit worried. I've got a more pressing issue right now, though, and I stare up at the sky in disappointment.
Ugh, I hate the rain.
She tried to warn you. I would have found a different place to make my nest and hide my supplies if I had known this would happen. Instead, both burrows would probably just be piles of mud by the end of the day.
I should have found a place with a roof after all.
I fill my pockets with my most important possessions and some of the food I grabbed last night. Everything else I wrap as tightly in the plastic bag as I can and bury them in my den. Hopefully I can find somewhere fast, then move everything else over before it gets ruined. An abandoned house would be perfect, or some other place where I'd be able to hide. After finishing packing it up, I'm just about to get going when a loud flapping sound overhead catches my attention. I expect it to be a bird, but instead it's yet another bat. This one's even bigger than the last one I saw last night. Its wings are way longer and noisier, and I can hear it squeaking something as it flies past. Some people say bats and foxes are similar. I don't say it. I watch it fly around for a second, before it takes off for the city.
Maybe it knows somewhere to stay. Guess I'll follow it for now.
Guess I'll follow this bat. That seems like a good idea. A couple times it disappears between trees or too far ahead, but I always manage to catch back up. Eventually we're out of the woods and back into civilization, where a car whizzes right past me. There's a sidewalk here, and other people are walking around. Most of them look up to the sky nervously, though, and everyone seems to be in a hurry.
Guess I'm not the only one looking to get away from the rain.
More people seem to be going in the direction I was headed than anywhere else, so I stick to that. By now, my winged guide is almost out of sight again, just a little black speck in the sky flying into the distance. Further up this road, there's a slope that leads to a big fancy-looking building. It doesn't look like a shop or a restaurant, at least not one that I've ever seen. But there are so many people going in and out that it has to be open to the public. That's good enough for me. It'll give me somewhere dry to spend some time, and maybe I can learn something useful. Plus, places like this usually have plenty of valuables inside. If I'm lucky, I might be able to find something to fund my next few days. After all, the bigger the target, the less likely they are to notice something's missing. The sturdy oak door isn't as heavy as it looks, a firm push being enough to heave it open. Gingerly stepping inside and out of the rain, I'm greeted by books, lots of books. Books on shelves, books on tables, books on the floor, books everywhere. The place even smells of musty old paper, and the dozen or so people inside are mostly leafing through pages in the aisles. The odd silence around the building is striking, given how many people are around. Doesn't look like a shop, so I assume this must be a library. I've heard of them, but I've never been in one. No point, since I can't read at all. But it's warm and cozy and very dry, so it'll do just fine. There's a desk near the entrance with a computer on it that I assume would be where I check in. It's unattended, which is good for me. I take a seat in an empty chair nearby and sit back just to observe for a bit. There are plenty of people, but it's not too busy. Lots of empty, unwatched spaces. Most folks seem to be here alone or in small groups that keep talking to themselves. Wait, this person can't read? Well, I mean, they are a fox, so... yeah, I feel like you don't teach many foxes how to read. Oh, true. I mean, I don't know. She's magical, so maybe she can read a little bit, but... there's not much conversation going on. What there is all whispers. Nobody gives me a second glance, which is a good sign. It means I'm probably not breaking any rules just by being here. Behind the desk, there's a hallway leading deeper into the building, and I peek around the corner to see what's back there. All I can see are some shut doors, and at the very back a staircase. After glancing around to make sure no one's watching, I sneak down the hall and try a couple of the doors. All of them are locked. I could probably pick them if I wanted to. No sense in trying to do that, though. Is there anything more valuable around? An antique clock or a vase would be perfect. Sadly, it's almost all books. Books and small trinkets that look pretty worthless. Not even worth the trouble of stealing. At least it's got a roof. I do spot a couple promising items, like an old set of coins, and memorize their locations. I wander back to the main area where I came in. Outside it hasn't started raining yet, but it's only a matter of time. The wind is loud and gusty, even opening the door is enough to make me shiver. If nothing else, I can probably wait out the rain here. But my poor abandoned snacks back at the den, what a waste. Can't do anything about it now, though. I should keep looking around. I move slowly through the area, never going beyond what seems to be the public area. I pretend to inspect a few books, taking them off the shelves and flipping through the pages, but I'm actually mapping out the place in my head. Doors, windows, potential places to hide, things like that. Most of the time, this kind of info is unnecessary. It's been at least a few decades since I've had to make a dramatic escape from anywhere. At this point, plotting an escape route is just a habit. Overall, I like what I'm seeing. Even with the locked doors and off-limit hallway, there are a lot of nooks and crannies that would make good hiding spots, especially as a fox. From the thick dust that coats a lot of these areas, I can tell they don't get a whole lot of visitors. If I'm careful, I might be able to go a whole week or more without being noticed. As long as I get in and out of the building easily, that is. And with the huge windows that line the back wall, that seems to be easy enough. I weave around a couple shelves that are taller than I am, heading for the far back corner. I peer around the corner of the last aisle just to make sure I'm alone. But I'm not. At a small table by the window sits a woman with a small book in her hand, resting against her fingers. She's perfectly still, but mouths the words on the page as she reads, like she's tasting them instead of just seeing them. Her expression has the distant look of someone way off on their own world, far away from this one. She looks so at peace that I think she must belong in that other world. She's beautiful and elegant in the same way as a painting, with the light from the windows shining on her like a display. I duck back behind the bookshelf, pressing one hand to my racing heart. My other bumps against one of the books on the shelf. It falls with a dusty thump. Cursing my clumsiness, I silently back away in case she decides to investigate, but she doesn't leave her chair.
I suppose it's nothing.
She turns and gazes out the open window. At what? I don't know. A moment later, she returns to her book and leaves this world again. I stay hidden, my face burning a little bit. Yes, I think this would be the perfect place to spend some time. Suddenly, there's a much louder boom than the one I caused as thunder rumbles outside. A few people around the library startle at the sound and look around. Sighing, the girl in the chair pulls the window beside her closed, the first drop of rain falling not a minute later. I'll investigate the windows later. Right now, I don't want to bother her, so I head back to one of the plush chairs on the side of the library and take a seat. I could be here a while, depending on how long the rain lasts, so I might as well get comfy. Find a few books that have more pictures than words and curl up in one of the soft chairs to flip through them. There aren't as many of those ones, and I go through the stack pretty fast. It takes long enough for the rain to start, though. The longer I read, the louder the pounding of the rain and the howling of the wind becomes. I guess it's not letting up anytime soon. I can't complain, though. This library is pretty cozy by my usual standards. It's warm and safe, and nobody tells me to go away. I even have snacks. Hey Nick, welcome in. How you doing? More than once I get up and walk around the library again, even though I've got most of it memorized by now. I take note of things like a child's stuffed toy that's laying on the floor in one section, or the thin blanket that's stuffed between a bookshelf and the wall. In my third or fourth trip around, I finally find something I've been looking for. One of the far corners, totally opposite from where I saw the reading girl earlier, there's a single chair and a small table. On the wall nearby is a portrait. The painting itself is of a girl with light brown hair, but I barely pay any attention to that. What I'm interested in is the frame. Hey, how's the game? It's going good. It's lovely. It looks like it might be made out of gold. It certainly shines like it. It's carved intricately on the shape of waves, flowing up and down. It's gotta be worth something. I pretend not to pay much attention to it as I make my way back to my table. And there are too many people around for me to be able to try to sneak it out. It's too big to fit under my jacket without being obvious. Is it thundering here or in-game? It should be in-game. It's not supposed to rain here at all. Last I saw, anyway. Let me see. Yeah, it's 0% chance of rain, so it's just in-game. Just means I'll have to come back some other time, maybe once this place is closed. The hours pass and the storm continues. I'm kind of disappointed about losing a whole day, especially so soon after arriving, but it's not like I'm in any sort of hurry. I pat one of my pockets, feeling the familiar and reassuring weight of the paper scroll that's tucked away there. That scroll is the one thing close to a purpose that I have. It's not particularly urgent, or at least I don't have any way to deal with it faster. I spend a long time reading. It's almost afternoon when I go and check out the windows again, but the rough weather outside continues. At this rate, I'll be sleeping in a puddle of mud tonight. Unless... Quick check shows that a lot of the other library patrons have left. It's not empty, but it's not nearly as full as earlier. I guess some of them decided it was worth braving the rain. Looking nonchalantly as I can, I get up from my seat and pretend to browse again, slowly moving through the shelves. The reading girl is gone now, although she's not what I was looking for. Instead, I picked up the dropped toy and the blanket that I spotted earlier, then head out to one of the out-of-the-way hiding spots I picked out before. It's on the floor between a shelf and the wall, but has a bit of carpet to help make it softer. Even better, it's between the corner shelves, meaning it's practically out of sight if you're not looking for it. I wriggled my way back between the furniture and lie down. Using the toy as a pillow and draping the blanket over myself, I toss and turn a few times before settling down.
Yep, not bad at all.
Even though I haven't done much today, I'm always down to take a nap. Agreed. I could pass a few hours sleeping, wake up once it's dark, and then grab a picture frame and be on my way. I'll have to rebuild my den once I get back, but that's a problem for future me. I yawn, staring up at the ceiling until my eyes get heavy.
Maybe today won't be a total waste after all.
The soft sound of cloth rustling wakes me from a dreamless sleep. How did someone sneak up on me twice now? I don't know how long it's been. The sky outside has darkened significantly, and now the stars twinkle outside the window. There's no time to react as the sound comes closer. I hear no footsteps, but suddenly a woman steps into view. Her clothes are pure white, making her stand out like a ghost in the dark library. Her cape rustles again as she reaches towards one of the shelves. One of the shelves I'm hiding behind, to be precise. Gingerly, she moves 2 books to the side and then slides another book into the space she created. She handles them like precious treasures that might break if she's too rough. I stay perfectly still, afraid to even breathe in case she notices me. My heart beats wildly as she slowly and deliberately looks over the shelf, examining their titles before taking a book from the second lowest row. Through the gap she creates in the shelves, our eyes meet in the darkness. Oh no. I tense up as she steps around the shelving between us to get a better look at me, preparing myself to leap away if the need arises. Think the carefully memorized layout of the library flashes through my mind as I frantically plot the best way to flee. Even as I prepare my escape, I can see her talking, taking in everything about me. The stolen blanket, the makeshift pillow, my general disheveled appearance. She opens her mouth and I brace myself for the verbal attack that's sure to come.
There.
General Kenobi.
May I ask why you're sleeping on the floor?
It doesn't matter what I say, just distract her enough to get away.
I don't have anywhere else to sleep.
I thought so.
She leans down and offers me a hand. I look at it warily. I don't take it, but I slowly stand, letting the blanket fall to my feet and trying to subtly get in position to run.
Well, I have an extra room on the second floor that you're welcome to borrow, if you'd prefer that. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to remain here, on the ground. I apologize for waking you.
With a smile, the oddly calm woman steps back and busies herself organizing another row of books. She probably expects me to let my guard down and take her offer. I'm just just a stranger, someone who broke into her library. There's no reason for her to treat me kindly. My years of experience, and there are plenty of those, tell me it's a trap.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'll just be going, actually. Sorry to bother you like this.
I hurry past her, shoulders tense, as I expect her to grab me or try to stop me. She doesn't, though. The one time I glance back, she's watching me with a strange expression that I don't recognize. When I get outside and away from the library, I breathe a sigh of relief.
Whew, that was close. I'm not falling for that one again.
The last time I let someone feel sorry for me and accepted a place to stay, I woke up to them trying to empty my wallet. I may be a thief, but at least I do it honestly. I wouldn't try to trick someone like that. That wasn't the first time someone tried to fool me and take advantage of me either.
Still, it's a shame to lose such a nice hiding place. Maybe I'll give it a couple of days for that woman to forget about me, and then try again. If she wasn't lying about there being an empty room on the second floor, then maybe I could sneak into there.
Tonight, though, I'm on my own. Shivering, I wrap up my coat and tail tightly around myself as I think about what to do next. The rain has stopped, although it's still cold and cloudy. My stomach grumbles since I haven't eaten anything other than snacks all day.
Ugh.
I may as well get it over with and go check on the status of my den.
Well, it could be worse.
It's not as bad as I expected, which is a pleasant surprise.
What's a little mine? It'll be just fine.
I swapped my fox form to prod around. The entrance has caved in a little bit, but after I scoop that out, I find that the rest of the tunnels and main room are relatively intact. Cold as hell, but intact. Seems the trees protected the den from a lot of the rain. It takes me a while to find the spot where I buried my stash, since the stick I used to mark the spot got washed away. Eventually I locate it though, and start digging. The cold mud makes my paws dirty and sore, and little flecks cover my fur. After I finally reach the soggy plastic bag, I shake myself clean before opening them as a human. Some water has seeped through, and I open the spoiled items before tossing them away. I'm not too picky, but I have plenty of other snacks to choose from.
Eat up, birdies!
A few of them swoop down to inspect the offering. I scarf down a quick meal of cookies and unwarmed soup, along with some cold water from the stream. At least the water is satisfying. Then, even though I just woke up from a nap not too long ago, I shift back into my fox form and crawl into my den and curl up. I'm sure it'll be a while before I fall asleep, but I don't feel like going back into town. I've had enough excitement for one day. This isn't all bad, though. Regular foxes without magic powers have it way worse than I do. Although back when a fox was all I was, I wouldn't have really cared. To this day, I'm not sure what it is that makes me different. I used to be just like them, no desire to go beyond the forest or anything. And then one day, I became whatever I am now. All I had was my necklace, a small scroll that I can't read, and the memory of the person who had given it to me. They were so kind to me, that stranger in the forest. They wished me well, even though I was just an ordinary fox. Somehow that didn't seem to matter to them. I never even knew their name, just their face and their voice. But I know that I'll recognize them when I see them again. It's just a matter of finding them. So since then I've been looking, and surviving. Looking for them is what keeps me going. It's enough to live for. If it wasn't, I don't know what else I'd be doing. I guess I'd just be surviving. But if that was the only thing, I think I'd rather have just stayed a fox. Standing outside my den in human form, I take stock of how things stand. The sun thankfully out this morning, but everything remains damp from the ground to the moggy air itself. The chill on the breeze is the worst, making me shiver every time it hits me. The Bell House was pleasant when I visited a couple days ago, so I decided to head down towards the main street, get a coffee there, while working out my next moves. Coming to the door of the cafe, I pause and wipe my feet on the mat outside. The human fascination with surrounding themselves in concrete makes a little more sense as I work the mud off my feet. With that, I finally head inside, only to stop in my tracks as the door shuts behind me. Standing behind this counter is the same girl I saw reading in the library yesterday, talking with a customer as she takes their order. That gentle aura about her is unmistakable. The person in front of me finishes their order, and I step up to the counter.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bell House. What can I make for you today?
Oh, hi. I'll have...
A vanilla latte? No, that's boring.
What do you recommend? I want to try something new.
I'm glad you asked. I was just thinking that you look like the sort of person who would enjoy one of our Fairy Kiss chillers.
Fairy Kiss chillers,
It's one of our signature drinks, with a vanilla gelato base and a mint chocolate chip swirl.
Okay, alright. I was planning on getting something warm, but that does sound pretty good.
Okay. Give me one of those then.
But you're a fox, can you even have chocolate?
Perfect. And could I get your name, please?
It's Miho.
She scribbles something onto a cup and finishes it with a big flourish.
I'll have that right out for you.
Thanks.
I pay and then go take the same seat as before, next to one of the windows. It's pretty empty in here again, so I can sit wherever I want. Before the barista starts making my drink, I spot her writing something else down in a little notebook. She glances my way once or twice while she does, but I pretend not to notice. I wonder what it is. The barista yesterday didn't write anything down. Anyway, I've got more important things on my mind. I mull over the plan which formed as I walked here, becoming increasingly happy with it. Tonight I've already decided I'm going to sneak back into the library. Between that picture frame and some of the other trinkets I saw, I should be able to pilfer enough to fund my next few days in Wellington. Finding somewhere to sell it should be the easy part. I've got a dozen excuses that I can recite about where the items came from, dead grandma, spring cleaning, new renovations. Sometimes I try extra hard and pretend there's things I'm selling are really special to me, and I earn a bit more cash that way. Sometimes I just take whatever they give me. After years of watching other humans do it and trying it out myself, I've gotten good at pawning items off. I find myself idly watching the barista make my drink. While I do, I practice a disarming smile. All of her movements are quick and practiced, but she has that same faraway look in her eyes that I noticed yesterday. She looks up and our eyes meet. I don't look away, and she turns pink before ducking behind the machine out of sight.
Huh. Weird girl.
Turn my head around and look around the cafe. And a butterfly outside catches my attention, so I watch that instead. It flutters back and forth, landing on a flower and resting its wings.
Miho!
Oh, my coffee's ready. I quickly get up and skip over to the counter. Cup in hand, she starts to head over to give it to me. But then several things happen at once. One of the little tassels on the pocket of her apron catches on the drawer behind the counter, and she jerks to a stop, eyes wide with surprise. And my drink tumbles out of her hand, landing on the counter with a wet gloop sound as the ice cream splatters against it, sending mint green rivers of coffee everywhere. A few seconds pass when we just look at each other, neither of us quite sure what to do, and then she takes a deep breath.
I am so sorry. I'll make you a replacement right away. Just give me 1 second and I'll have that ready for you.
Her words spill out faster than the beverage, making it hard to even understand what she's saying. Her face is bright red as she spins back around and grabs another empty cup. Then she stops, hands hovering awkwardly.
I should clean this up before it dries and starts to go bad.
She hurries back to the mess, wiping at it with some napkins. She mops as much of it up as she can with one hand and leaves the soggy paper on the counter while she starts to remake my drink.
I'm really sorry. This is such an embarrassment.
I don't even know if she's talking to me or herself. I freeze up for a second, looking for an appropriate response to an apology. I'm not used to people apologizing to me.
Oh, it's fine. I'm not in a hurry.
Instead, I just sit back down at one of the tables and watch. She makes the drink twice as fast, and then she carries it very slowly to the counter, setting it down in a clean spot. This time, she takes a deep breath before speaking, like she's afraid she's gonna mess that up too.
All right. Here's your drink. Again, I'm very sorry. Oh. This is your first time here, isn't it? I hope it doesn't leave a bad impression.
Second, actually. Yesterday was the first time. How'd you know?
I make an effort to remember as many of our customers as I can, as well as their favorite orders. I believe you can learn a lot about a person from how they drink their coffee.
Well, that's too bad for her because she won't remember me at all next time. I take a big sip of the drink she made for me. It's creamy and rich and sweet all at the same time.
Whoa, this is really good. It's kind of like a milkshake, but not. But it's not like coffee either.
Yes, exactly. I'm very glad that you like it. It's one of my favorite beverages that we serve. In fact, the recipe was my idea.
Whoa! They should put you in charge of all the recipes.
She smiles again. Seems like she's gotten over the crisis of the spilled drink already.
Thank you. I'll make you another one of my favorites next time, if you'd like.
She's so pretentious. I don't know about that. I think it's just the accent that's giving that off.
Totally.
At least I'll know what to order next time, even though I'll have been forgotten. I'm already thinking of this place as my go-to coffee shop, especially since it's in a convenient area. With tasty drinks and cute baristas, I don't have a reason to go anywhere else. A knocking sound from the employee area gets both our attention.
Hey, Aspen, can you send another batch of croissants?
Oh, sure. I'll be right there.
She calls back over her shoulder and then looks at me briefly.
Have a nice day, Miho.
You too.
With a wave, she gathers the trash from the cleanup and throws it away before disappearing into the back. So her name is Aspen. That's a pretty name. I'll have to try to remember that. Getting up from my seat, I decide to head back outside for some fresh air, sipping my Fairy Kiss chiller as I go. I head out the door and into the increasingly busy main street. I already know my plans for tonight, but I've still got some time before then. What should I do? Welcome to the world of Please Be Happy. On the map you can select locations to visit, spend time in. Just take note though, most locations will pass time. How you experience the story is up to you. Events that will pass time are marked with a clock icon. Some events will only show up at certain times or on certain routes. For today, you can see all of the events, but in the future, you'll have to pick and choose how you spend your time here. Ooh. There's main story progression, side story, continuing a side story, dates and romance, and special events. Okay. Alright, well, I think I'll end our demo playthrough here. I very much like that. It's I love story games like this. Voice acting's good, art style's really fun. Yeah, let's see. When is this game coming out? Oh, cool. So this is planned for the Nintendo Switch. And let's see. Wait, is that already out? No, it was... It looks like it's been delayed a couple times. It was supposed to be out in 2020, then 2021. Now it says 2022. And it is coming to the Nintendo Switch as well. So that'll be good. I would definitely pick this up on the Switch. Seems like it would be a fun game to play through. Very beautiful game. I agree. So yeah, that was Please Be Happy. I hope you enjoyed the demo playthrough. If you do, please like and subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Bye.